Cool. So welcome to our Results Club Inner Circle call for today. As always, we'll start with celebrations. So what are you celebrating, Miss Jennifer?
I just did day 2 of Miracle Morning. I read the book and all the materials, and I've committed to 30 days. And
Okay.
it's only 2 days so far, but I think it's going to be a really positive change.
So what are you learning from it? What's coming up for you?
Well, I was getting up early. Originally, when I decided to start my own business and I was doing some training, I was getting up early to do the reading and all of that. And somehow I've fallen off from getting up early and getting a lot done to getting up early and looking at my email and checking Facebook and drinking coffee. And so I'm getting up, but I'm not really setting my intentions for the day the right way. And I'm not really, and the minute you look at email, you're on someone else's schedule and they always think it's an emergency. So I need to center myself better and decide what I plan to work on for the day. And I engaged my VA to act more as like an operations person. So she has access to my email. If there's anything really important, she's going to see it anyway.
Yep.
So I'm going to just start with something different because I haven't been carving out enough time to actually do the work. I have so many different commitments for networking and this and that. So I think this is better.
Yeah, that's always the challenge, is the finding the time to work on the business versus in the business. Particularly the busier you get, the more clients that are coming in, and that's always the challenge. So good for you. That's exciting.
I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, you'll have to share with us how. Hi, welcome, Lisa. Jennifer was just sharing that she's read the book Miracle Mornings. Is that right? Miracle Morning, and she's committed to 30 days of the practice.
So today was day 2.
Very cool. Very cool. We're just starting with celebrations. What are you celebrating, Lisa? I haven't heard from Ashley. She's been on, but she's muted and I haven't heard from her.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi.
What am I celebrating? I am celebrating that I have this client that's she's a bit of an influencer, I guess I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
And she did this huge, really gracious, beautiful post on Instagram on Saturday, 4 paragraphs about how I've supported her through her life's journey and I'm the real deal. And if you're looking for spiritual support and it was this 4 paragraphs and she put a link to sign up for my newsletter. And so I've had 100 people sign up for my newsletter. I had 250 new followers, and I've had 7 people book sessions.
Oh my gosh, now that's a celebration, I would say.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I was so grateful and so humbled. And I had a really big, I feel like I had a really emotional response to it. And I think it's that, being seen and being valued at that level was really, I was really potent in my own heart. So I'm having some response to it, which is interesting.
That's and take it in.
Yeah.
And really accept it in your heart.
Yeah. And getting really grateful and just preparing, I know these next levels of things are coming, and this is one of those aspects of it. And taking deep breaths and saying thank you. And we had a little technical issue with the link not going through because I have a new website and the link didn't go all the way through. And I was like, okay, here we go. Perfectly imperfect. So I personally responded to them and I was like, here's the upgraded link. And what do you know? We had so much action, the server broke.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, I just said we had so much action that the link broke.
Okay.
I think it just wasn't stable somehow in the creation,
Yeah.
We just launched a little bit ago. So anyway, there we go.
Very cool. Very cool. So when are the sessions? Are they in the next week or so?
I did one yesterday. Okay. And she's wanting to do more. So we're going to have a discovery session about that. And then I have one over the next 2 weeks. One tomorrow.
Hi, Teresa.
Can you guys hear me okay? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Hearing me?
Well, my volume's up all.
No, it was a lot of, Ryan
Teresa,
had
we
told me
can hear
about it, but
you.
I didn't know.
Teresa, we can hear you.
Thursday, I guess it was.
Okay, I'm gonna mute her. She must be on the phone or something. Let me see if I can turn my volume up and see if that helps.
It might be my phone or my system.
Does that help?
No, let me see if I can.
How about you, Jennifer? Are you having trouble hearing me?
No, I'm okay. I can hear both
Here,
of you just fine.
I got it. It's internal.
Okay. No worries. No worries. That's awesome. Actually, one thing that just came up for me since you shared the celebration about the sessions, all of us are pretty much doing one-on-one sessions of one kind or another. When you allow appointments, generally, how many days out do you let people schedule a get to know you session, whatever you call it, a consult, a strategy session, whatever you've named it? So do you have a time set? Anybody, just in general? Do you have it set so they have a set amount of time that they can schedule?
I have it set for 20 minutes.
Okay, so that's the time length of the session. How about how many days in advance that they can schedule?
I have mine set for 24 hours.
They can only schedule in the next 24 hours, or there's
They cannot schedule within a 24-hour window.
Okay, so it's a 20-minute session. They have to schedule at least a day in advance.
Mhm.
From that day in advance, how many days out can they schedule? Can they schedule a month from now, or can they only schedule 3 days from now, within the next 3 days? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think mine's scheduled 30 days out. I'll have to look because, again, we just set up a new system. I just moved to Acuity. Okay. I think it's 30 days out.
Okay, Jennifer, do you have a time?
Yeah, mine was scheduled so that you couldn't make an appointment within the 24-hour period, and we had 2 weeks of just weekdays.
Right.
I have a very long day because a lot of lawyers like to speak when they're done and all the secretaries left for the day. So I let people schedule up until 9 o'clock. But we were also experimenting because we saw people go on and then not schedule.
Right.
So we were experimenting with letting them schedule as long as it was more than 5 hours away. So if they looked at noon and they wanted to schedule for 7 o'clock at night or something, a couple of them came up on my calendar a little bit suddenly. So we're experimenting with whether or not we want to do that or not.
Yeah.
One of the people I spoke to turned out to be kind of a good candidate, so I'm glad we got to speak, but I don't think I would do that on a regular basis. And we don't like to do more than 2 weeks because my calendar changes a little and I forget to put things on, and then I'm like, oh, I can't do it then.
Yeah. Well, that actually, it's interesting, and we'll come back and do celebrations for Teresa and Ashley, although she's still muted. But I'm going to just hit on it right now since it fits with what Lisa was talking about. One of the things that I've done recently, and this is, again, it all depends on your target. It depends on what the session is booked for, how they're coming into you, all those things. I used to allow 10 days. So if someone, like off a Facebook ad or even off of an offer in an email, they were going to schedule a complimentary session with me, same thing. They could book. They couldn't book for at least 24 hours, which, Jennifer, I think you'll find that you'll want to do that, just because it's so easy to miss it, and you're like, oh my gosh, if you just literally bail on somebody, you really feel bad. So I think the 24 hours before they can schedule is a good thing to do. Then I used to do 10 days, and then my coach kept telling me, do 3 days, do 3 days. And I kept saying, I don't want to do 3 days because my schedule is so busy. And so I kept resisting it. So I went to 7 days, and I've recently gone to 3 days. So I will when I went from 10 days to 7 days, I noticed that I did get better show ups and fewer cancellations, fewer reschedules, that kind of thing. So I've just gone to 3 days. So I will share with you over this next month how it works doing it that close in. My resistance, we all have our resistance, was I only do calls Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if they schedule on a Thursday, they're going to get Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's going to be no appointments available. So that worried me. So what I did, against my better judgment, I opened up an hour on Friday morning just so I would have something that they could book to see, kind of how that works. And then, you know, like you said, Jennifer, my schedule changes. I'm busy. If I'm booked the times that I have open, it's not going to be enough call. All of that stuff was my own internal dialogue of why I didn't want to go to 3 days. So I've let go of all of that. And I basically said the month of October, I'm testing the 3 days. So I'll keep you posted on that. I would definitely put a time frame on it, and I wouldn't go more than 10 days for anybody. Because what happens is the longer out somebody schedules, the less they remember why they scheduled in the first place, because there was something that was going on with them that had them decide to commit the time to schedule with you. And so you want to keep them, you want to keep them in the conversation while they still remember what that was. So 10 days, for me, it kind of covered 2 weekdays generally. So, or 2 work weeks, I should say. That felt kind of good to me, but I was getting a lot of no-shows, and that was frustrating. So I'm working, that's my big thing right now, is I'm working to get reductions on no-shows, because I've been getting over 50% no-shows, and that's a waste of time, you know, for everybody. Now granted, this is off of cold traffic because I'm doing Facebook ads. So it's different if somebody meets you at a networking event, you're not going to get that high in no-shows. But if you're doing cold traffic, somebody just found you on social media or, you know, Facebook ads, something like that, then you expect the no-show rate to be a little bit higher because they have literally almost no relationship with you at the beginning. But still, that's too high. It's just too much of a waste of my time.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So you're talking about like free discovery sessions consults, because to limit that makes sense. I wonder if there's a way in Acuity. Does anybody use Acuity?
I do.
Okay. Can I, because I want people if they buy a one-on-one session with me, I don't care if they book out 30 minutes because they have to pay when they book it. I mean, if they book out 30 days, is there a way to set one thing at one time frame and the other? Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, you create different appointment types.
Yeah, those are created, and I can adjust those individually.
Yeah, you do it in what's in the availability tab, and there's where you can set the days and times you're available, because you can have that be different by appointment too.
Okay, yeah.
And then in the next to availability, when the calendar comes up, it'll say set scheduling limits.
Okay.
And you click on that, and you can do things like what Jennifer was saying, that they can't book for at least 24 hours out.
Right. Yeah, I must have set that somewhere, because
you can do other stuff too in there, but generally speaking, it's the not booking for 24 hours and the having the length of time that they can schedule out be limited.
Got it.
Yeah, I also had to adjust the amount of time between appointments, because I don't charge any of the people I work with. This is it's a 15-minute no obligation session so that they're willing to talk to me, but they never pay me. It's the firm they go to. So I don't care how long they talk. I want to hear everything they have to say. And once they start talking and they build up a head of steam about it and they're really excited about moving, or I tell them, you're right, you could do better with X, Y, or Z, they want to continue chatting about it. So originally we had them starting at the top of the hour, even though they were 15-minute calls, and that wasn't long enough.
Okay.
Because a couple of them ran together. So now we have them start every hour and a half. And if I have time between, I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I had to reschedule one because I was still talking with someone who was, you know, clearly in distress about his job and had a lot of business to move. So I did not want to hang up on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And also know, Jennifer, that people understand that your time is not unlimited. So if you've been talking with somebody for an hour, you know, they're going to understand if you say, you know, can we talk? I do have another call at the top of the hour. Could we talk at 4 this afternoon or something like that? So they do understand, you know, when you're talking about you booked a 15-minute appointment and you've spent an hour with them.
It's just a little hard because my calls tend to cluster in the evening.
Yeah.
And so I have like, you know, a 7 o'clock and 8:30, whatever. And on the nights when I have networking activities, those appointments aren't available, and people will look for those nighttime ones first. So I hate to tell somebody, oh, I have to hang up with you, and then say, and maybe next Thursday we could talk again at 8 o'clock. So I was trying to finish up, and I just couldn't.
Yeah, got it. Cool. And the other thing, Lisa, you mentioned on the booking the appointments out. Do you ever have somebody buy an initial session and then want a refund because they haven't booked?
It's set up that they have to pay, they pay and book at the same time.
Okay.
Is that your question?
Yes. Okay. So then if somebody, the reason I'm asking is because sometimes with paid sessions, it's good to have a length of time that they can book out, because the longer that somebody, even if they've paid, the longer the time that goes by, the higher the chance of a refund request.
So I have a refund on there that they're non-refundable. They have to be used within 6 months. I have a thing when they, but I guess I'm confused because I've never had somebody buy a session and not book it.
Okay, then don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, then don't worry about it. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, sorry for that little digression, but it tied right in with what I was going to talk about. So I thought I'd bring it up.
And can I ask you, where do you go again in Acuity?
Yeah, so go into on the left-hand side where the menu is, go into availability.
Uh-huh.
And then in availability, you'll have on the next to the left-hand column, there'll be all the appointments listed.
Mm-hmm.
Click on the appointment that you want right where it says the appointments listed, it'll say something like set times and then set limits or something like that. Next to the
Client scheduling limits. Got
Yep.
it. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yep, that's it. Good morning, Teresa. What are
Hi, sorry I was late.
That's okay. What are you celebrating?
Well, I'm very excited. We just had our 10 pattern collection accepted as a collection, and under copyright law, it just helps out when we can have a whole collection accepted, because then I only have to pay one fee to have the whole collection copyrighted. And so it got accepted to be copyrighted together as a collection. So it's done in time for me to release it at market in a few weeks. So I'm excited because it all came together on time.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very good celebration. Ashley, are you there? She might have called. She was here actually when I called in. So I don't know. Maybe she set her phone down and walked away. Okay. Well, we'll see if she comes back. Great. So great celebrations. Happy October, everybody. I can't believe it's October already, in the fall. I was talking with Jennifer when she first came on. It just seems like everybody is so busy in October. Are you guys feeling that?
It's my busiest month out of the year, so it's crazy time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what's coming up? What questions do you have? What can we talk about today to move you forward? Silence. Oh, now Ashley's calling on a different line. No questions?
I have a question if Ashley's not
Go
on. Do you have any guidance for how to decide if you should accept going to a networking event or keep that time for yourself to work with clients or to work on your business? I'm almost a year in now. I'm coming up on a year, and I was trying to do all the networking I possibly could for a long time because I needed to practice and get out there and meet people. But now I have so much networking on my calendar and so many golf outings and day-long conferences and business travel that it's taking up a lot of time.
Right.
And I'm wondering what the criteria for deciding whether I should say yes or no to something might be.
Yeah, great question. Generally speaking, the questions that I ask myself are, the first and foremost is this something that I want to go to? Will I enjoy being there? Because
Right.
I really do believe that as an entrepreneur, we get to pick and choose what we do. And if it's something that you would dread going to, it doesn't make my list. Then the second question is always, are my ideal clients going to be there? Because I want to know that I'm doing something that I want to do. And the benefit, of course, is to meet people that either I want to work with as a client, or it could be also collaboration partners.
Mm-hmm.
Like for you, it might be other attorneys that you want to collaborate with to expand your business, that kind of thing. And then the third thing that I look at is, what's my gut on the return potential given the amount of time I'm going to spend. So if it's, if it's an event that's just an hour and a half networking event, then that's a lot less investment than if it's a whole day conference. if it's a whole day conference, then it better be something I really think I'm going to get some value out of the conference itself. And my ideal clients are there. And I think that they're high probability that I'm going to meet at least someone that I want to follow up with from a collaboration or a client standpoint. Those are kind of the three big criteria. And then the fourth one that I would add, Jennifer, is that I really have found over the years that with networking, you're better off having fewer groups you participate in at a deeper level than more groups you participate in at a base or a shallow level, if that makes sense. So if
my problem is I have 3 groups that I was trying out, and I'm participating in all 3 at a very deep level. It's taking a lot of time.
Well, and are the new events that are coming up, are they all events that are in some way linked to those 3 groups?
No, they're things that seem useful. Like, for instance, I'm going to be away. I belong to Bold Heart Business. I'm going to be away for the Mindset Conference. I had decided to go to that. It's once a year. I'm leaving on Thursday, October 24th in the afternoon to go there. And I just got invited to a female entrepreneurs conference, which is like, within an hour of my home, and it's free. And it's 2 of the sponsors are big law firms that I've done work with before. So I imagine they'll probably send some of their lawyers. And the topics are kind of interesting, but it's like the day before I leave and I'm out of town. Right. And then when I come back, I have 6 days here. And then I go to Puerto Rico to go to the New Jersey Bar Conference and that's very expensive. I'm definitely going. I've paid for it already, but that's my ideal. Everyone who's going to be there is my ideal person. So I'm committed to doing that. So I just can't. I mean, normally if this female entrepreneurs conference looks like it's, co-sponsored by a couple of law firms and it's only 45 minutes away and it's free, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But there are just so many days that there's something. Like every day there's there's something, whether it's a 2-hour meeting or a planning thing or whatever. So there've just been a lot of, like, I have another golf outing coming up, and there are different things that I've already committed to. So I'm just trying to decide, does it make sense to try and fit it in or not?
Yeah. So I should have Lisa step in here and do some energy work with you, but I'm just going to do this and say, just take a moment to just close your eyes, literally, and think about the event and go to your heart and just check in with yourself about what's coming up. What's the feeling that you have about being in that conference? Think about being at that conference and being able to connect with those lawyers, potentially, and the women entrepreneurs who are not your ideal clients, at least at this point. And how does that feel? What comes up for you?
And I think it would probably be a useful thing to go to if it was on a different day. I would have not hesitated. It's also the same day as my BNI group, and I have to miss one to go to that Puerto Rico trip.
Okay.
I'm just a little concerned about what they have new leadership now. The guy in charge is kind of a drill sergeant.
You got to do well in BNI. So
I guess, these are very small problems. If I go to the conference, I'm sure I'll get a lot out of it. If I don't go, I'm sure my business will keep on anyway. There are just so many things that I get asked to do every day. I'm sharing office space with a woman who belongs to different groups than I do, and she's been really kind to invite me. She gets extra tickets for a lot of things that she sponsors. And so I'm going to a few things coming up that I've already agreed to go to. And, there are a million groups I didn't even try yet. There's so many things going on every day that sometimes I get invited to 4 things on the same night.
Yeah. And you could spend, 80% of your time just going to networking groups. And the reality is that your business would actually suffer if you do that. So you have to make choices. And may I share with you what's coming up for me? Mm-hmm. And we'll see what everybody else is hearing. Everything you're saying are reasons why not to go.
Okay.
So just think about that.
Okay.
And as you make choices, I mean, it could be a great event. It probably is a great event.
It's okay to skip one every now and again.
Okay, it's okay. Give yourself permission to really, just not even know why it's a no. Sometimes you don't have to have a reason that you don't go to something.
Okay.
Just allow yourself that grace, because if you're participating in 3 networking groups at a deep level, you're in it. And the other things you pick need to be something that you really think are gonna be big opportunities, like the Puerto Rico trip.
Yeah. So I'm going to drop one of the networking groups as soon as I'm co-chairing a big event, and it's gotten out of hand, and there's really no networking involved. It's more of a service organization, and one of the charitable things we do, I'll continue doing privately. But every time I go, they make me feel guilty about the 4 things I didn't go to. And it's like, I have my mom's still alive. I could call her and I could get a guilt trip. I don't really need to go to a meeting for it. So
yeah, no, that's, good for you for recognizing that. Anybody else been there? I saw Lisa nodding her head. Yeah.
Can I pipe in for just a second?
Absolutely.
There's this really cool book called Blink.
I read it years ago. I should read it again, maybe.
Yeah, so in the first 2 to 3 seconds if something's a yes or a no.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we spend the next 25 hours debating it in our head. So what I'm learning to get into the practice of is our body holds the wisdom. So if something's light and exciting, there's a desire. Like if it feels like an inhale and it feels light in your body, then say yes. And if there's anything that contracts or feels heavy, it's a straight up no. And no is as powerful, if not more, than our yes is.
Okay.
I love that, Lisa. I think it's so true. Very cool. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
We couldn't hear you.
I dialed in with my phone, and I'm guessing that the dial-in was not working when it came to me speaking.
Oh, got it. Okay. Anyway, we're glad to see you. What are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating being up here with my mom, as a matter of fact. So she had her knee replaced yesterday. So I'm celebrating taking care of her for all the times that she's taking care of me.
Oh, that's awesome.
My kids get to just run around on the ranch and the property and just celebrating life.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Cool. So what other questions are coming up today? Ashley, I did get your question on the refund cancellation policy. I didn't have a chance to take a look at it this morning, but I will get back to you on that. Any specific questions you had on it?
I was making the cancellation policy, and I did put, for massage therapy, of course, conduct in there. And I also put the cancellation, the reschedule, the arrival. So it's policy and procedures is what I did.
Okay.
And then I made the membership aspect of it, and thinking a little bit about my packaging prices, making sure that I'm valuing my time. And when they give me that money and I'm giving them the massages after I've, because I'm still building my practice, after I've spent the money, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying it and not feeling like, oh, I just gave this away.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am right now, in terms of logistics for the business.
Okay. And you got my notes on the pricing on the package?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And that's what made me think about it.
Yeah.
Because at 20%, especially with me at 95 and not accepting tips, that's a big, that I wouldn't feel would be something that I would wholeheartedly enjoy if I didn't have that money set away. So, I've decided in my practice to not accept tips as a massage therapist, and to really go more towards how they would book their appointments and their revisits like they would with their midwives or OBs, and and I'm still kind of wrestling a little bit with that, but it's more about getting into having people come back regularly and not feel like they're spending a ton of money, but they're still receiving quality work. So I don't want them to feel like they have to tip when they commit to the membership. You know, it's all inclusive.
One thing on the pricing, how do your prices compare? It relates to the tips. How do your prices compare to the market?
So I did that, and right now, even though my price is set at $95, I've noticed that people who I've worked with and went out on my own are now at $100 for their hour, but their hour and a half is still at $135, $145.
Okay.
So, and I'm at $95, and then when I do the membership, it drops it down $10 to $85. So, and I don't want to undervalue the market, but you know what I mean? But so I don't know if I should do 90 for a membership and then 100 or 105 for a single session.
Yeah, that would be my inclination. I mean, I was intrigued by your no gratuities. As a single operator, I think that there is something there that could set you apart,
Right.
but I would not want it to bring down your overall per session revenue, basically.
Exactly. And I'm still, you know, it was something that my last coach made a suggestion of, but that's also when you're setting your prices up at a higher rate than what I have mine at.
Yeah,
So,
and
you know, I'm still kind of, maybe that could be 2020's goal. Like that could be what I moved to in 2020, but just do maybe the prices right now and then do the membership at 90, you know, because then, or I keep the tips and do it at 85, and then I'm still getting roughly $100.
right. Well, one thing I would consider is going from 95 to 100 on your single session at least right away.
But should I do it $5 or $10?
Well, honestly, 100 versus 105, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of difference, but going to that 3-digit number is a price barrier. So I would do that now while you're relaunching and not have to go from 95 to 100 then in 2020. Because that's going to be, for somebody who's paying 95, then you go to 100, it's like, it feels like it's more than it really is. Okay. So if you're that close and you've got other people, competitors that are at the 100, 105, and you're not going to do gratuities, I absolutely would go to that higher level now.
Okay.
And now you get to choose what you do with current clients. You know, you can grandfather them at the price they have been paying. You can give them, you know, a time to get to pay the old price. What I like to do is to give them the opportunity to buy a package at the old price. So you get an influx of cash, but they get to take advantage of their current pricing. They can buy that package through, you know, November 1. And then November, if they buy anything you buy after November 1 is all at new prices.
Okay. I know there will be a few of them that I grandfather in because they've been with me for years. And when I moved to the new location, I upped their rate already.
Okay.
So there's a few of them that I'll think about. And then everybody else, I know what I'll offer the package to them.
Yeah. Lisa, I saw your eyebrows going up. I know you have.
Yeah, I just, you know, my heart says if someone wants to gift you money, why would you say no? Like, why would you limit the availability if someone wants to give you gratuity? Like, it's never expected, always appreciated. But why would you
I do say that.
Let that happen?
Yes.
No, it's a question. Like, why would you not make room for that to happen?
I think a lot of it is the possibility of them rebooking and they don't feel obligated.
But they're a sensation of being obligated to give a tip is about them, not about you. So by you not giving them that choice, you're cutting off income flow to come to you. That's their choice to make, not yours. I mean that with love, but I'm curious.
Of course. No. Of course. It was just something that I thought, oh, that's kind of a good idea, you know, to be looked at, especially if, you know, with being a prenatal specialist, to be looked at like when they're making appointments with their medical physician, somebody that they go to for advice. And that's the same thing with me, That's where how I want to be looked at. So why not take it just one step above and not accept the tips and look at it more as a like a medical, I guess. And
So could you do both? Could you look at it as more of a medical and then still allow them to make that choice on their own?
But you
Of
don't
course.
tip your doctor.
that's
Right, but
kind
that's
of,
your choice.
that's
But
kind of
I
something
don't
that-
think your doctor would accept a tip.
but
You
see,
try
that's
going
like
to your
that.
doctor and see if you can tip.
So this is exactly what I was going through, like exactly
well,
what both Jennifer and Lisa, you guys have, like, those are the points that I'm kind of working with and
And what
trying
I'm
to
hearing
figure
now-
So
out.
let's use acupuncture as an example, right?
Mhm.
And acupuncture is considered to be a medical practice, and 90%. And I mean, colon hydrotherapy. You know, I did that for years. It's a medical practice. Yet sometimes people wanted to tip. So I always gave them the option, and when they inquired, like, is tipping acceptable here or what? I would say, you know, this is considered a medical practice. It is never expected, but if you feel called to do that, our practitioners would probably appreciate it.
Mhm.
Like, it can be both.
Yeah. And what I hear, Ashley, is that what prompted the whole do I accept tips was adding your prenatal, postnatal services and the doula services, which you didn't feel were traditionally tippable services.
Well, at the spa, I mean, I've always considered massage a typical service. That's
But
been
not
kind
the
of like,
Services, not the other
you know what
side.
and I know that, well, with the doula, when people buy packages, sometimes they'll tip the 15% right there on the package, and
Mhm.
sometimes they don't tip at all. And I'm totally fine with that. And oftentimes my doula clients don't tip, but they'll give me a thank you, like a thank you gift basket
Mhm.
is what, you know,
Yeah, right.
what they've done.
So what if you looked at your language to kind of like bridge what Jennifer's saying and what Lisa's saying? What if you looked at your language, and it is pretty strong right now on your website? I think it does say tips aren't expected, does it? Or aren't
It
accepted?
is. It is. You know, our last meeting that we had, I came to that aha moment where I wanted to cultivate the prenatal postpartum specialty that I have. Also a way to set me apart here on the peninsula as well. So I really do want to cultivate that. And I was struggling with it, and I'm like, this is what I am. This
Yeah.
is who I am. Why am I limiting this gift that I have to give?
Exactly.
Because I'm afraid of losing income. Where when I was writing my website, 80% of my business is prenatal. And man, when you look at those Facebook pages and those like there's the Monterey County families, and somebody asks, who do I see for prenatal massage? My name pops up 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, what the heck? Why am I denying this? So that's why I've decided after that, like, to just commit to it. It still says massage and skincare, but my website right now, because we can always change it. My website right now shows the specialty and shows that this is what I have passion for. And this is why you can come to me and why I can give my heart to you. So,
And
yeah.
I love that. I just got goosebumps. So that means it's a good thing, Ashley. I
Thank
love
you.
that. So I would suggest going back and looking at your language.
Okay.
And one thing I did love is that you say something like referrals are the best form of appreciation or something like that.
Yes.
And I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would, even if you temper your language to say, even like what Lisa just said, gratuities are not expected but always appreciated. Referrals are the best form of appreciation, or something like that, where you're almost you're not saying no. I don't accept
Mm-hmm.
like a doctor. I think, to Jennifer's point, I think that there's probably just a practice that doctors don't accept tips. There's no rule, I don't think, that they can't accept tips.
It could be some ethical wrong.
Yeah. So
I don't think lawyers can take money from clients that aren't for services rendered.
Lawyers,
Maybe something similar with doctors, we don't know, but it's just not, it's not the common practice to try and tip your actual medical doctor.
Yeah, where it is common practice in certainly massage therapy.
Yeah, I would just suggest not denying it. Maybe you just don't say anything about it. And maybe you just say referrals are the greatest compliment I could receive, and leave it at that, and leave the tip thing out of it. And if people want to tip you, they tip you. And if they don't, they don't. Like that's their choice. How does that
Right.
feel?
It feels good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels good to me. This way I don't have to tamper too much with my prices and have that swirling around in my head that I'd make the right decision, you know, because I'm finally moving forward from, I don't know what I was stuck in this summer, but well, I'm also Vata. So this fall season is my season and I'm just moving forward the month of October. It's like fall hits and it's like, boom.
Good. Awesome. Cool. Great discussion on that, and get great input, Jennifer and Lisa as well.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Okay, so Miss Teresa, I want to know what's going on with Market and your offering your course.
I lost you, Sherry. Do you still hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you. I'm trying to find where it went.
Oh, it's probably in the down at the bottom. There's a bar and there's a little. It's a blue square with a little.
Yeah, it's not there. So hang on. It's probably in my background here somewhere. I don't know what I'm doing.
It could have gotten minimized. Maybe it's in a corner somewhere or something like that.
I don't know. Well, anyway, you can hear me. I have Market coming up, and it's a very busy time. Just trying to get ready for it. So, I think that I have two different things that I'm going to offer at Market. One is the consultation, the individual consultation to help shops jumpstart and kick off the products that they purchase from me. And the other one is that group consultation where we can help them with the marketing part of what we do as far as providing the patterns online. That's one of the things that I provide to those shop owners is the actual free product that they use to help encourage people to do their open rate. So for example, on Saturday I had a shop owner who, bless her heart, decided just to drop in to find me Saturday and start pestering me time-wise on how she can do this email. And I said, well, I would love to spend an hour and explain it to you today. Yeah. I really don't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
And here's what I will do. I put her name down and I said, I will have these groups that I will do after Market. I'll have Central Time Zone group, Eastern Time Zone group, Mountain and Pacific Time Zone groups. I said, jump in the Central Time Zones group and then you'll get that same, all your questions answered.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna have to pay for that group though, right?
Exactly right. But what I feel good about is I'm not telling people I'm not going to give them the information,
right.
But I'm going to do it at a time that works for me. You were asking about, how long do we have to schedule out? I already have those dates where I'm going to be available to do that. I have those there. So you either can get in at that time or you can't. And,
right.
and I had to get comfortable with letting go of the person who says, oh, but that's right when I'm having my family reunion. You know what? I'm sorry. Then we'll have to catch you the next time. So,
or they'll have to schedule an individual session.
Right. So I feel pretty good about that. So I have those things scheduled and I just have to get the promotional materials finished up. So that'll all help, but it'll happen.
Okay. So I want to get clear though. So at the end of your workshop, when you've given these shop owners tremendous value, the offer is going to be, you're going to transition to, has this been helpful? You always want to get them saying yes.
Right.
Everybody's going to say yes.
Right.
So, and then I would say something like, so how many of you still have more questions? Everybody's hand's going to go up.
Okay.
Then say, well, would you like to have an opportunity to have some additional time with me to get some of those questions answered and to start the implementation plan?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have two ways that you can do that.
Okay.
If you feel like you need, you work better one-on-one and you really want some one-on-one dig in deep with me time, we can set up a one-on-one consultation. It's just a one-time thing, Teresa, right now?
No, I thought I'd do it in three times, because it's going to take one time for me to understand what it is that they need. Everybody's different with what they have for email providers for their POS.
Right.
So the first time I can give them some basics, but then they need to dig into their own data and their own information too. They need to do some data mining.
So there'll be how long would the 3 sessions? Is it going to be over a 30-week period?
Over 3 weeks. This is just short. Just do it. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay. So you want to tell them that obviously that you know we're gonna meet each once a week for 3 weeks, and then you want to focus on the benefits. This is for everybody, by the way. When you're sharing offers, you want to focus on the benefits, because people don't remember the features. The features are you're going to have 3 calls. What's the benefit of those 3 calls? The benefit of those 3 calls is by the end of those 3 weeks,
You're
going to
implementing,
have
right.
a fully implementable plan to do XYZ that will result in ABC revenue
Mm-hmm.
for your business.
And then I thought I'd let them schedule a free follow-up call once they begin implementation, where if they have questions once they begin, but see, everybody will implement at different times. So
I would suggest, was that for the group or is that for the one-on-one or both?
that's for the one-on-one.
Okay, so I would, what I would do is I would position that as a bonus, not free.
Okay.
People love bonuses. People love to think that they're getting something extra. So you get 3 calls to basically develop your plan that's going to result in X new clients, X revenue. And if the bonus, you want to have you want an urgency on the bonus.
Mm-hmm.
If you say yes by the end of market, I'll also schedule an implementation follow-up call with you after you've started your implementation to tweak and improve your results, basically.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And then, well, actually, as I'm saying this out loud, what are the differences in the group program? Is that 3 weekly calls as well?
So the group program is like, say, for example, this quilt behind me is Bible studies. Okay. So let's say I have 10 shops that are going to implement Bible studies. It's very specific. So now I can actually go through the implementation on how to do that.
Right. But is it still 3 calls with three weekly calls?
Nope. It's just 2 calls. It is 1 to first of all, I do some, I say that, but it's 2 as a group, it's 1 individual. So I email back and forth with them and maybe call if I have to find out exactly what they have for their email hosts, how they're going to do it. And then in the group, I would be able to know, say, for example, that these 6 do it this way. I'll put them in a separate group.
Okay. So one thing, and I don't want to go too deep into the weeds here, but one thing that's coming up for me is it sounds like you're making this kind of complicated.
I am.
That you have to do a lot of stuff up front to figure out what group to put them in and all this kind of good stuff. And you have to let go of that a little bit too, Teresa.
Okay.
And know that you can't design a program that's going to be perfect for everyone. I mean, right now we're sitting here talking about quilt shops, which Lisa and Linda Patton's not on. She loves quilting. But you know, Lisa and Jennifer and Ashley may not really care about quilt shops.
Right.
Okay, so
right.
I do my best to make it apply to everybody. Like talking about when you're talking about offers, you focus on benefits. You have to let go of being able to answer everybody's questions and serve everybody individually in a group.
So what do you do with those ones though, that when they're not getting the answers, they want, and it's mostly because they're not even prepared to be in that group yet? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And in those cases, you recommend one-on-one.
Okay.
Honestly, you sometimes that is a separate conversation to just say, okay, here's what, you know, I sense you're frustrated, and the fact is you may have not been ready for this group. So I have 2 options. I'll refund your money because frankly, they're going to pull the rest of the group down. Or what I would really love to suggest is that I'll credit the money that you've invested in the group towards one-on-one, and let's do, you know, 2 more one-on-one sessions for X incremental. Okay.
Right.
So I would go back and think about how can you simplify the upfront work? I mean, you could create a survey. Okay. That would automate part of it, but still give you the information. So you'd have that up front, but you need to make it as simple as possible in a group up front.
Right. I get that. Okay.
And the other thing I would think about, Teresa, is just for the ease of presenting it, because again, comment for everyone, too many choices creates confusion, and confused people don't make decisions. So you want to make it simple when you're presenting it.
Right.
If it's possible to have the overall elements of the group program and the one-on-one be similar, but the key difference is, do you want to work one-on-one or do you want to work in a group? It'll make it easier for you to present. because you can present it then as, here's what the program is going to look like. You're going to get these 3 sessions. You're going to get X, Y, and Z. At the end of it, you'll have a full implementation plan that's going to create this many new clients and income, again, speaking to benefits. And there's 2 ways you can work with me. If you feel like you want one-on-one, and here's the difference in the pricing. You see how that makes it easier to present?
So it's kind of 2 different things for me, Sherry, and this is why I'm doing them that way.
Okay.
The one-on-one is more of like an introductory. Like they don't know what they want yet. They just know they want something. And so, and the one-on-one with them is because it'll bog down. If I have 10 people on and they're at different levels, it'll get so bogged down with that person who's on the lowest level that I need to go one-on-one with that. The group is when they've already made a commitment to, I want to do this. And this is exactly what I want to do, but I don't know how to.
Okay, great. So then you're just all you're presenting in the presentation is the group then.
Right.
Then you're going to collect contact information, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the collecting contact information form,
Okay.
you put a box on it that says something to the effect of, I know I need support, but I'm not sure I'm ready for the group program.
Right.
Okay, and those are the people that then aftermarket you schedule follow-up calls with. So in your presentation, is this making sense to everybody? What I'm doing is trying to hone Teresa in on what she presents in the verbal part of her presentation, because you want to make that offer as streamlined and clear as possible. And if you start giving people a lot of options, you end up not getting anything. I mean, I've seen people do 30-minute talks, and 10 minutes of the 30-minute talk is the 5 different options of things that they can get after the talk. And people do nothing because they just like, well, it's just too much for me to think about. I don't know what I need, so I'll do nothing.
Right.
So you really want to focus in on what's the one action that you want the right people to take at the end of your presentation. And in your case, that's to sign up for the group program.
Right.
Okay.
So mine is also, when I finish that presentation, they either are going to buy or they're not going to buy.
Right.
And if they buy the program series, then that would launch them with the possibility to go into that group, because it's the group to implement the program series. If they don't buy, then it's a matter of, did they need more information, or did they figure out that this really is not for them? And if what they need more information, then I will go after them with the one-on-one to get them the right information so that they end up in the buying group.
But you don't have to say all that at the end of your presentation. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah. Okay.
You want to keep it as tight as possible at the end of the presentation, so you're not giving them too many options.
Okay.
Okay. And if you have a sign-up form you want to send me and get feedback, just put it in the portal and I'll
Okay.
Okay. And also on the offer, if there's like bullet points of the offer that you want to go through.
Okay. Thanks.
I think where it is. I do have an outline of an offer. I don't think it's in the inner circle. I could put that in the inner circle if that would be helpful.
Yeah.
It goes through the steps of making an offer. And you don't necessarily have to do every step, but it is kind of a typical selling from stage kind of offer. The other thing I mentioned, the bonuses sell. I mean, a lot of people buy because they want something in the bonus. So anything that you can think of that you can offer as a bonus, if they say yes before the end of market, that would be really helpful in getting your people to take action quickly. I don't think you're going to have that problem, to be honest, because they're at market, they're excited, they're kind of in urgency already, but it doesn't hurt to have just a little extra something that they get if they say yes by the end of market. Okay, cool. And when is market, Teresa?
I leave on the 23rd of October. I teach the first few days. The market gets over the 1st of November, and then I turn around. And the 2nd of November, I start festival, which is different, but then I don't get home until just before I get home like the 9th of November, and then I head out to Tennessee.
Right.
So
wow. Okay.
it's a busy time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's exciting. It's a first.
I know.
First time you're gonna make an offer for shop owners. I love it.
I know, I'm really excited.
Love it.
I
Cool.
feel like I'm way behind everybody else because you guys are all doing that already. But I'm just,
everybody's on their own journey, and you've
yeah.
been running a retail business for how many years? Very
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. What other questions are coming up?
I have some questions.
Yeah, go for it.
This membership site is being created and we're just about done with it. So I just have some logistical questions
Okay.
about membershiping. I've never done anything like this before. So any feedback would be really appreciated. So I have 2 entry points. First of all, it's called Soul Powered Portal.
Oh, good.
And
Okay.
there's the Super Soul, and then there's the Soul Mastery. So one's an entry level, and then one's a more intimate level.
Okay.
So what they get is, I guess one of my questions is, I'm wanting to do a monthly energy update for everybody. And I'm wondering if, because it's like it's a good 20-30 minute video. Can I create that once, use it run it through my membership, but also post it on YouTube? And then what makes the membership specific is that in addition to like kind of the over arc of the theme of the month, there'll be like one word that will be the energy theme of the month.
Right.
And then I'll talk about the astrology and the numerology and just the channel, like the energy update. And then for the membership site at the entry level, they'll also get a meditation that's recorded to go along with it so they can infuse. They will get a call that I'm thinking will be the first Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
And in that call, we will do some activations and I will do more of a breakdown of how they can navigate the energies for the month.
Okay, perfect.
To give them some extra juice, right? And then they also get, anybody in my membership gets discounts on upcoming classes, one-on-one sessions. I'll also include a link to the month's to one of the podcasts through the month, which is just like a little bonus because everybody can get that.
And it's just making it easy for them to find it in one place. You can create a page that has links to all your podcasts, actually.
Exactly. And then they'll get the and then they'll get the call. And then for the upper level, the Soul Mastery, it's basically the same, but they'll get an additional call, which I'll do on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. And I see this being more of an intimate group. And I will do more personalized Q&A for their specifics, mini readings. Like that's their chance to get one-on-one with me for like 5 or 6 minutes.
Right.
In a group setting.
Right.
And then they'll have access to my meditation library because I have probably about 15 meditations already pre-recorded. So they'll just have access.
The meditation library, they only get at the upper level.
At the upper level.
Okay. And in the base, they get 1 meditation a month.
They get 1 a month.
Okay.
That's specific to the frequency of that month. Okay. So I have my questions relating to this are, what are they? Do you think it's best to do group calls on a noon time or an evening time? It's best for me at a noon time.
It depends on your target. It really depends on when people are available. Most of your potential clients working? Are they flexible in their schedules? Do you have a feel for that?
It's about a 50-50. I'd say most are. That's why I kind of like the noon hour, because even if they are working, they can kind of pop on a 60-minute call. Of course, they're all recorded and they'll get them all later anyway. I say do what's best for me to start and see.
I would definitely agree. The noontime, I think, the challenge you have is that you have clients all over the world. So noontime for you isn't necessarily noontime for most of your potential clients.
Yeah, that's true. But, in Europe, it's 8 p.m., so that works.
And people will make things work. If it's important to them, people will make things work.
Yeah. So noontime feels best for me. And then the other question is, part of the agreement with this is that they also get access to a community of like-minded soul-powered beings. So then that brings us to a Facebook group.
Okay.
And Facebook groups are always a little bit of a challenge, especially in the beginning, as we know, and getting, when you don't have a lot of members and getting
Yeah.
things generated and so on and so forth. What's your wisdom on that? Just
Yeah.
start it and see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm in the middle of that right now with you guys in the inner circle, and it's it is a bit of a challenge. I think for the you have two choices. You can not promise it at first until you get a number of people, set a target of a number of people that you want in the group, and then open the Facebook group. So then you've got, I don't know, pick a number, 15 people or whatever you want to pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way that I've seen people do it. So they don't start with 0. They start with a number. Or you just be honest with people, which is what kind of I've chosen to do, is tell you guys about my journey in building this group. It's not been the journey I had imagined, quite honestly, in terms of the growth. And I believe being transparent and telling you the things that are working and things that are not working are just as valuable as as the alternative, if you will. So just be honest with people, and hey, the benefit you get is at the beginning is it's going to be a small group, and you're going to get to know each other really well and really intimately. I mean, you don't have to say that literally.
Of course. Yeah, I'm a fan of transparency. I guess my other question is, I've watched people create a collective or community on Facebook, and they run different things through it. Like, what if it was my conscious community or conscious creator community? And the membership got access to that, but I also gave other people access to it. So they're getting all this stuff in their membership site, but we're building a community that I could also say, hey, half these members are in the membership site. Do you want to come over here?
Yeah, that's another great option.
Okay.
You just don't sell the Facebook group as a private Facebook group for the membership.
I'll just say you get access to our conscious community.
Yeah, exactly.
I got chills on that.
Do you already have that group?
No, but why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
When in Rome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's a possibility.
Okay, and then I'll just word it as, in addition, your bonus is you get access to the newly created consciousness or whatever, conscious creator community of like-minded soul-powered beings.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then if people are commenting on something that's happening in the membership site, and somebody says, well, how did you get that or whatever, then you have the opportunity to respond and say, that's part of the soul power portal. Is that right?
I'm calling it soul powered portal.
Powered portal. Okay.
Which is really fun. And so there's the super soul, which is the entry point, and the soul mastery, which is the deeper dive. Now, some price points. I was thinking of starting this off. We're going to do a soft launch like November.
Right.
Just to my list.
Okay.
And then I'd love to get in kind of a promotional sequence that pops it out to the beginning of the year. Like more Facebook ads and social media and more invitations. I was thinking as an entry point for the, I hope I'm not taking up too much time. Are we good?
You're good.
Okay. I was thinking entry point level $33 and then $77 for the more intimate group.
Okay. And are those numbers that are important numbers to you, or are they?
Well, they're all energetically charged numbers. It doesn't have to be, but I like those numbers.
Okay.
They all have meaning.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're nothing. I think those are fine.
I know people like sevens at the end, so like 27.
The statistics on membership groups for low-end membership groups are 27 or 47 work best. You're picking 37.
33.
Or 33, sorry. It's another one of those you can test. I mean, I don't.
So what I was thinking about doing is at this entry level, starting at like a 33 and a 77, and then giving them options if they, discounts if they purchase 6 months at a time, sort of thing.
Definitely.
And then see how that goes as a test. And then in the new year, maybe do a 47.97. Or a 27.97. I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I would change your price points in the new year from
Okay.
33.77 to either 27 or 47.77 or 97.
Okay. Just keep
Because
them
it's
as
not
is.
enough of a difference. I would just launch with what you want to go with.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, I would just launch either with the 33.77.
And the intention of this really is just to have, like, until I have a group program that's a kind of an evergreen option. My vision is really like, I want to have a low price point for people to be in the energy that they want. And then I want to start being able to differentiate price points, because I really just want 5 or 6 clients at a,
Mhm.
you know, at a very high level. Like, you know, very high level anyway. And then, so I want these different entry points that can start funneling people into different options to differentiate that higher level that I'm willing to play with.
Absolutely.
That feel good?
Yeah, that feels very good. And on the portal itself, do you have the mechanics behind it in terms of being able to put people in and take them out and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, my web girl's working on that. We went with I think it's called member space.
Remember Vault?
It's member space. Memberspace.com.
Okay. Never heard of that.
That's all right. Yes, it seems to have everything we need. I guess we'll find out as we get a little deeper in, but she did a test of it for this last month. As she's putting it together.
Right. Okay.
And it does have that people only get what they've paid for, and they can keep those things through downloading them.
Yeah.
But they don't get the past things.
Yeah.
Like they get the chunk they paid for.
Perfect. That is
One very last question on that. One of the options for payment, because, you know, people are coming in at all different times, right? So what they offer is, let's say somebody signs up on the 27th, but we had a charge time on the 11th of each month.
okay.
This is numerology. Yeah, those numbers are based on numerology. So they'll be charged on the 11th of each month. There is, like, if someone signs up on the 20th of the previous month, the system prorates, like you're being charged $12.99 now, but you'll be charged the full amount of $33 on the 11th of the following month.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I actually like it.
Okay.
What I like about it is that it, well, I guess there's two sides of it. What I like about it is that it gets everybody on the same schedule.
Same payment schedule.
Same payment schedule. And if you decide to add something that's time dependent, it's not going to mess it up, if you will, depending on when somebody signed up. Then the flip side of it is a good news, bad news. All of your cash infusion is going to happen at once versus it coming in throughout the month. So you have to plan better, if you will, personally. And then the only other thing would be, you may have some people that don't get the prorating thing and get charged the $12.99 the first time, and then they get charged the $33, and they're like, wait a minute, I thought it was $12.99. So you may get a few of those, but I think that's
I think the copy on it is pretty clear in the sequence.
You just have to
we'll just deal with that. And the money from this isn't, I'm just looking at this as bonus money. So, you know.
Okay. I think it's an interesting way to do it, though, because then you get everybody set up on the same schedule, and going forward, then everybody's kind of, you know, in the same
on a cycle,
spot, if you will.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Cool.
I'll let you know when it launches.
So November launch to your list. So have you got kind of an email string figured out for that? Because you're going to do it email probably mostly.
I don't have the sequence figured out yet. She's just finishing up the membership site today. That's kind of the focus. And then fortunately or unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town for about 6 days next week. I'm going to a women's retreat in Colorado.
Okay.
So I got a lot to do.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, congratulations. It's another celebration to almost have the membership site live.
Very big. Very good. Thank you.
Cool. Other questions this afternoon for Jennifer?
Am I the only one?
Yeah, everybody else is West Coast time.
Question for you, Sherry.
Yeah.
What is the largest number of people that you've done on a Zoom meeting where you can actually interact with them? What is the max number?
Yeah, great question. The largest number I personally have done at one time is probably around 40. And that was when, well, I guess I might have had webinars that were more than that. That was when I was doing 90% of the talking. It was more of a teaching format than an interaction format. However, you can have you can have a lot more people than that, as long as you're able to moderate the questions. So just as a for instance, in this group, we have a small number of people, so I let you guys go, so to speak, pretty deep on your questions. If we had 40 people on this Zoom, then I would have to answer the questions much more laser-like and or point you to a resource.
So would you have them do the questions in the chat, and then that way you choose which ones you want to?
Yes, and I don't necessarily like choosing which questions, because then people that don't get their questions asked feel not so good. But what you can do is, yes, you can mute everyone and then have them ask the questions in the chat. And then for select questions that you think might be a good point for everyone, you can actually invite them to unmute and then have a conversation with them, let them participate, if you will. And the other questions that are maybe quicker questions, you can just answer the question and move on, so it doesn't take as much time. So, I think, I have been on calls where there are hundreds of people on the actual call, and you have to know that when you've got that situation that a lot of people are multitasking, they're not really listening because they can't possibly be engaged, and you're really talking to a small proportion of those people. That's the fact.
When you did that group of 40, did you have somebody else helping you monitoring that chat? Is that what you did?
Yeah, I had a VA that was on the line with me usually, and she would, in fact, sometimes I was working with Kim at the time that I'm thinking of right now, and she would actually read the question. So she was actually feeding the questions to me, so I didn't have to just watch the chat.
Right.
And that does work really well. It's when you first start getting into it, it's hard to manage the chat and the live calls and the people, and so it's nice if you can have somebody, like have a Tara or somebody there that could do that for you. Teresa would be good. How many people will be in each of your sessions at Market?
Hey, babe, give mommy a minute.
It's a big number, depends on the session. They moved me to a ballroom for 2 of the classes that I'm in, and
Okay.
I could have over 100 people in those sessions.
Okay.
So, and of that, I don't know, I'd say if a third of them end up converting to doing something, that's probably good. But yeah, I will also say that in my other sessions, it's usually more like half.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I have 90 people in a session, I usually get 45 out of that end up going with me. So I'm just trying to figure it out and make sure that I have it set up appropriately. I think that by limiting it to where I'm doing the time zones differently, that will help a lot. I wasn't going to, but the business owners, typically in my industry, in a quilt shop industry, you open about 10 o'clock in the morning, but the business owners are there at 8 getting their work done. Right. And so if I offer them an 8 a.m., it just is really hard. If you offer that on the East Coast, the West Coast, that is what?
Right.
5 o'clock in the morning. So then they're not going to participate. So I thought by doing the different time zones, I'll keep the group smaller too. That should maybe help that.
Yeah. I mean, on the time thing, the first time you're doing it and not knowing what kind of response you're getting, you could offer the 4 different time zones, or maybe it's just 3. Maybe it's just West Coast, Central, and East. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't necessarily offer different for Mountain. And then you may find that that it works, or that you have so many people it's the right number, or you may find that you want to combine Central and Eastern. You can always change that. But one thing that does come up for me is is that because you know you get that high of conversion rates, you've got to make sure you're pricing this high enough.
Yeah, I'm probably not. So we probably shouldn't go there because I'll be embarrassed. So
Okay, so
I'm probably not.
So you probably should double your price.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't think I should do it once first and then double it later?
No. Not because you've already done this so many times. I mean, you
Right.
already have a following, my dear, and you don't give yourself credit for that.
Yeah.
You already have people that want more of you and more of your time.
Right.
So value your time from the get-go, because it's always harder to raise your prices, guys. You know, it's just, you know, we don't like to raise prices because all of our own money stuff comes up. We think we're going to make people mad, all that stuff. So why not just start out with a price that you know in your heart you're delivering value, and that is going to make people stretch a little bit. So you may get, if you doubled your prices, if you're used to getting 40% conversion and you got 20% conversion, you're still going to make the same amount of money.
Right.
And you're not going to have to deal with some of the questions we just talked about.
Right.
So
Right.
which
You're
would
right.
you rather have to answer the question after the questions of 20% of the people or 40% of the people and make the same amount of money? Because which is going to take less of your time?
Hey, baby.
Well, I can honestly say that out of all the advice you've given me over the years, Sherry, you're always right.
Huh.
I may not always take your advice the first time. I have to maybe hear it 4 times before I finally go, oh yeah, Sherry was right, and then do it. But you've never steered me the wrong direction. You've always given the right advice.
Well, thank you. And it's absolutely because I've made the mistake before myself. So yeah, so definitely my gut is whatever you're pricing at, you're probably pricing it too low.
Got it.
So just
Before we leave the this topic, may I make a suggestion of one thing that you could do when you have that large group? Is, if you haven't heard, there's a program called Typeform that you can embed into the program software, and you have people answer the questions the night before.
Yeah.
And then you read those questions, and you can do it in order. So those who get it in early, they get their questions answered early. So maybe they're on the call first and they get their questions answered, and then it's recorded as well, and you're answering their questions from the ones that are already submitted.
Yeah, that's a great
That
suggestion.
could be an option for a larger group, is to have them answer the questions the night before, set your intentions, what are your goals, and then the questions you feel answered, or how can I support you, something like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Good.
Cool. Any other last questions coming up?
What was the name of that book, Lisa, that you said? Was it Blink?
It's Blink. It's
Blink. Yeah, it's a Malcolm Gladwell book.
that's it. And my other favorite book, just like I think it's a must read if anybody's interested, is Gay Hendricks' The Big Leap.
Oh,
I've read that one like 3 or 4 times.
yeah.
That'll change your mind in a Red Hot Chili Pepper second.
Let's say
I'm
that one again. It'll bend
right now.
Red
I
hot.
said it'll change your mind in a Red Hot Chili Pepper second.
I love it. I love it. That's great. Okay, so let's close out today with everybody's in I feel a great energy. There's a great next step growth energy. So let's end today with an intention. The one or two words of your intention of your biggest growth or blossoming or blooming that's going to happen in October. What's the biggest growth opportunity for October?
I'm going to say commit, because I'm committing to doing this program.
Love it.
I'm going to say expand, because I'm willing to expand my reach.
Yes.
Transform, because I'm transforming my business.
Love it. What about you, Jennifer?
I'd say scheduling, because I'm going to schedule blocks of time to save some time for myself and my work.
Oh, I love it. And I'm going to add visibility. All of us get to be really visible in October.
And one last thing before we go, I am currently scheduled to have video clips filmed on the day that we have our next call.
Okay.
The gentleman who's doing them for me just had his first child on Friday, so I think he's probably going to cancel. The baby came early, but I might have to miss the call.
Okay. And if not,
we scheduled this for like 6 months, and we're going to film a bunch of clips, and I'm going to be able to use them going forward for about 6 to 12 months. So
I love it.
I can't say no if he's available.
Yeah. So if you can't be on the call, then you just have to share one of the clips in the Facebook group.
Yes, I'll do that.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Well, everybody have an amazing week. We will have, is it next week? I think it's next week is our Techie Thursday. And let's look at October. I mean, I really feel a great energy just in general from October. I know for our Lisa's, there's something good happening in energy right now in October.
Yeah, there's something there's a lot happening with Jupiter, and there's a lot of lightness. There's a lot of forward movement. There's a lot of like general reorganization going
Here we go.
on.
You're okay. Come on.
It's just getting lighter. We've been in a lot of heavy energy for about 5 months, and oppositional energy, and now everything's kind of opening for that forward kind of. It's like if you felt like you were moving and there was like walls or moving through mud, and then all of a sudden it goes whoa, and you're like, oh, it's like birth. All of a sudden,
Exactly
your head's just popped out and you're ready to go.
Very cool. Love it. Love it. Well, that's a great note to end the call on today. So let's take this forward energy that Lisa just shared with us and move forward to find ideal clients that we can make a difference with.
Yay.
Plan? Okay. Sounds good, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.